The Church is just coming off a synod on the family. One of the aims of a gathering of this kind is to stimulate renewal within the Church in order to bring about a renewal of the world. Professor George Weigel had renewal in mind when he wrote the book Evangelical Catholicism. On the tail end of the October Synod, he was in Rome presenting the volume's New German translation.
This book is an attempt to explain what the last three popes have meant by the new evangelization, where that came from, what needs to change in the Church in order to make the new evangelization more effective, and then how reform in the Church always means reaching back into the tradition of the Church to recover something that has been lost or that has gotten a bit moldy, and bringing it into the present moment for the sake of the preaching of the gospel.
Reform, he said, does not necessarily mean introducing something new, nor does it imply a cafeteria Catholicism.
No, reform means to recover something old that's been lost and then to bring it into the present in a new way. The renewal of the liturgy is a pretty good example of this. The rediscovery of the Church's commitment to a distancing of itself from state power. Declaration on Religious Freedom at Vatican II is another example of this. But do-it-yourself religion, or as a professor at Yale University says, ice-your-own cupcake religion, really has no future. It's not too interesting. It's not what has endured and thrived for 2,000 years.
The head of the Vatican's finance office, Cardinal George Weigel, was also there supporting renewal in the Church through the family.
Well, two very important criteria for reform. The first is, is a Christian community handing on the faith to their children? And secondly, how many young people within the Christian church or community are coming forward for positions of religious leadership, priesthood, religious life, the movements, volunteers. Now, you can judge from that whether there needs to be more reform, and I think you can judge from history, our recent history, the post-conciliar history, that the situation is just as George Weigel describes it. And that is a joyful, happy, vigorous and confident affirmation of Christian teaching and putting it into practice in good families and good communities.
Cardinal Weigel also attempted to right some of the wrong expectations of reform some drew from the family synod.
I think it's a very positive, it's been a very positive synod. I think most of the bishops were happy. You know, often the expectations that are built up in the secular press are quite unrealistic and very much shaped by their ambitions for the Church to abandon its unseemly teachings, which it's taken from Christ and which it's practiced for 2,000 years on sexuality, marriage and the family. And the Church isn't going to do that.
Weigel's book is now available in English and German.